And welcome back to The Factor Uncensored, and thank you for joining us for our second half hour. Tonight, we're talking about the toxicity within some families and how it can unfortunately take a deadly turn. This comes as the Harris County Sheriff's Office and HPD investigate several domestic violence cases over the weekend. We're highlighting two. The first involves a man accused of killing his dad Monday, and it was brutal, according to investigators. 24-year-old Todd Jackson Jr. is facing murder charges after police say he beat his father to death with a glass beer mug. He's currently in the Harris County Jail on a $250,000 bond. And in Northwest Houston, another tragic case. Devin Keith Grantham is accused of shooting and killing his wife, Courtney, as well as her mother-in-law, Deborah, during an argument Sunday morning. It's believed the couple was arguing about a breakup. Unfortunately, cases like these are far too common. According to the Harris County Domestic Violence Coordinating Council, the county leads the state in domestic violence cases and homicides, and it's been that way for several years. Joining us tonight to talk about it, trauma therapist Chow Nguyen. Chow, glad to have you here. You're not shocked by any of this, what we see in Harris County?
No, I'm not shocked. In fact, Houston police report hundreds of thousands of family violence calls for service every year. So that just underscores how much dysfunction there is among families.
And so when you see a family member heading in that direction, before it gets to that direction, and you think you can intervene and stop it, what should you actually do in a heated argument, say between a father and son, and you know it's going to get ugly?
Well, I'm sure there were signs that were leading to this dysfunction. You know, the signs of family violence are akin to domestic violence. And by the way, we're talking about this on the heels of Domestic Violence Awareness Month. There are signs just like signs of abuse. If there's threatening verbal arguments, disrespect, control and coercion. But if things get really heated and you know it's going to be dangerous, you got to take a break. You know, I tell clients to take a time out and to stop and walk away, because at that point your brain is haywire. There is no rational brain thinking. There's emotional flight, fight, and freeze, you know, your primitive brain at work, and then all sense is off, right? All common sense is off.
And Child, we know 9 times out of 10, an individual's not even thinking straight, and they can't think to walk it off and take a break. What would you tell surrounding family members who may witness this? What should they do? How should they intervene, short of getting themselves harmed in a situation like this? Did
you know that in all intimate partner violence homicides, 1 in 5 of those homicides involves an innocent bystander? That's a family member, a police officer. What you have to do is your life comes first. If there's a gun in the house, if there's a glass and things are heated, you have got to look for safety at that point. You've got to find a way to step away and get out of harm's way. And family members, I know they mean well. Look at that poor grandmother. She was just trying to make peace, and all of a sudden, she's a bystander. Her daughter's gone. The child doesn't have parents now. What a family tragedy. It doesn't have to be that way.
And so, and that's why I keep asking you the question about, what do you think the best course of action for a family member would be in a situation like that if they're witnessing that?
If you're looking at family toxicity, things are dysfunctional, seek help and support. There are counselors that can address family counseling. I do it all the time, right? There are ways to communicate, looking at healthy relationships, much like intimate partner relationships. We're talking about family relationships. You know, if your needs weren't met as a child and you're grown up as an adult, and those things, those patterns of abuse or violence or threats or put down still occur, chances are you're in a toxic family and you got to get some support. It might be that you cut off ties with your family. It might be that you set hard boundaries, but you've got to do stuff to stay safe.
And one of the things we rarely talk about here on The Factor Uncensored is when we talk about same-sex couples who go through the same thing. They're no different than anyone else. What advice would you have for those individuals and the friends surrounding them?
You know, when it comes to intimate partner violence and domestic violence, it does not discriminate. It does happen to same-sex couples. We see it more and more prevalent because they are speaking out and seeking support. I would say listen without judgment, just as I would say to any couple, right? If you have friends who are suffering abuse and you know something's not right, tell them that they don't have to be alone, that there is help. There are organizations, there are counselors, there are so many resources now to support victims of violence, that they don't have to go through this and navigate this alone.
And a damn restraining order.
Yes.
You can get that from the courts, right?
You can get protective orders to protect yourself from safety, but there are safeguards, making a plan for your safety, making sure that those around you, your support system, know that you are working to stay safe.
And really quick, why wouldn't you put all of your hope into a restraining order? You're saying also make alternative plans, because obviously a police isn't instant to show up at your house.
Yeah, protective orders.
It's not a priority sometimes.
Protective orders are a piece of paper to deter the perpetrator from coming around you, right? But we just saw it on the news this past week. She had a protective order. She was starting her life over, and the husband goes and finds her and kills her.
Didn't mean a damn thing. All right, Cha Nguyen, always good to see you, and thank you for joining us here on The Factor Uncensored tonight.
Great to see you.